Crystal Symphony, Silver Sea Dawn. Which one's better? Let's figure it out here. Hey, this is Jack with Luxury Cruise Tips. So let's talk about these ships. Over the past couple months, I've had the privilege of sailing on the Silver Sea Silver Dawn and the Crystal Symphony since it's been refurbished. It's a tough choice, I had to be honest with you. So I want to break down some of the categories I thought about as I was sailing. So when I think about my next cruise, how do I choose which one to go on? So let's look at the size to begin with. First of all, the Dawn holds 596 people and the Symphony is 606. But it's a little bit misleading there. The Dawn is 40,000 tons. The Symphony is 50,000. So if you followed the history of the Symphony, it held about 900 previously, and now it only holds 600. I can tell you as you walk around the ship, it definitely feels a lot larger than the Dawn, the public rooms, the space. It just feels like a much larger ship. So if you want more space to walk around and you want a deck to walk around, deck 7, the full deck, it's one of the few ships you can do it, I would say the Symphony is your ship for that. These are both all-inclusive ships. I think that the main key difference in terms of the all-inclusive is that Silver Sea Silver Dawn includes excursions, whereas Crystal does not. And I can tell you it adds up quickly taking excursions if you're doing it through the cruise line or even on your own. I think it's very nice with Silver Sea that they include excursions and they're good quality excursions. The other thing is, let's look at the staterooms. I think from the stateroom perspective, I'm going to give this to Silver Sea. Why? Because an entry-level stateroom on Silver Sea is about 340 to 350 square feet. The entry-level stateroom on Crystal Symphony is about 215 square feet. So in order to get to a relatively same size of Silver Sea on Crystal, you have to go to the Aquamarine, which is the stateroom I was in on my cruise. It was a very nice stateroom. But I like that the Silver Sea has, it feels like two rooms because you have the curtain that can be drawn, whereas the Aquamarine, it's just one larger room. I like the closet, I like the bathrooms, but I think that from the stateroom perspective of size, I think I would give that the Silver Sea, unless you're going to the suites, and then it starts getting about the same in terms of quality. The other thing is both Crystal and Silver Sea provide everybody now with butlers. What I will say is I would give the edge to Silver Sea. I just find that, again, this is something new for Crystal with the butlers for every category. We had 2 different butlers on our cruise. I would say that the intuitiveness and the training of the butlers on Silver Sea is better than the experience on Crystal. Had a good experience, but in terms of coming back and different surprises on Silver Sea. As an example, on Silver Sea, I had mentioned to my butler that was bringing caviar for my wife that I didn't like caviar, and he said, the first day, what is it that you like? And I said, chocolates. Okay, every day he brought caviar for my wife, we had chocolates for me. In the evening with turn down, there were extra chocolates. So I just think the butler, I will give the points for the butler over to Silver Sea. In the future, that may change as there's more experience at Crystal with butlers. Now, one of the other areas is food. So first, I would say in terms of options, I again would give that to Silver Sea. On the Silver Dawn, you have approximately 9 options of restaurants in the evening for dinner. Yes, 2 of them you do have to pay for, but again, that's 7 without the ones you have to pay for. Both ships give you room service, so you don't have to worry about that. I think that from the room service perspective, the Silver Sea room service menu is more options on it, and I like how they serve it where they will course it. They did not do that for us. I tried it on Crystal, and they just brought everything together. So I would say from the options and variety, I again would give that the Silversea. In terms of the food quality, they're equal. I think that Crystal in Umi Uma is probably one of the best dining experiences I've had. Yes, La Dame is amazing, but you have to like the La Dame menu because it's a fixed menu. In terms of people ask about the buffets, the two buffets, I think they're very equal. They both have sushi at lunch. Neither one is open for dinner. Breakfast is very similar. I may give Crystal the thumbs up on the breakfast buffet. I think they have a little bit more variety than Silversea, but I didn't go hungry at all. In terms of the additional restaurants, again on Silversea, you have La Dame and Kayasaki, and then Kayasaki is open for lunch for free. And then on Crystal, if you're only on for the week and you're fine with one experience, you don't pay for the two specialty restaurants. But if you want to go back, you do. Umi Uma is not open for lunch, so you can't go there for free for lunch. But again, food-wise options, I'm going to give that to Silversea. Food quality, pretty much the same. I would say if you like Italian food, I would say La Terrazza. On Silversea, I would say I like that better than the Osteria on Crystal. Then when we talk about food, we have to talk about drinks. So I think that when you go around the ship on both ships, as you know, that both of these are fully inclusive. I would say that Crystal has approximately 15 to 20 included wines, red, white, rosé, and sparkling, and even champagnes. I will say that Silversea, we went to their wine tasting the first day, and I think I counted 70 included wines to choose from. So I will say that Silversea had more included wines in terms of the spirits and beverages at the bars, very similar in quality. I think that the thing I did like about Silversea on the Dawn is they have the salt bar, which I really liked. And I guess that can vary by the bartender that's in there. From what I'm told, is they can create their own kind of menus during the week, but I thought it was a really unique experience. But either way, you're going to enjoy the beverages they have throughout the ship, the quality, the experience, and the serving of them. So I would say that from an entertainment perspective, Symphony versus Dawn, this one is definitely hands down the Symphony. Now, the Symphony had live music all over the ship. They had the orchestra, dancers. I just say the energy of the ship was substantially better than the energy of the Dawn. They both had venues all over the place. I will say that in terms of a more lively experience, the saloon with the piano player on the Symphony, amazing. I've probably been in there every night, and on other cruises you couldn't get in because the sing-alongs are fun. Sometimes you feel like that bar could be 3 times larger and it still wouldn't hold anybody. Silversea didn't have anything like that. They had piano players, but it just was really quiet. The other thing is, believe it or not, Crystal does have a disco. I peeked my head in there a couple times, no one in there, but they did have that. In the evening, I think both ships will have a little bit of entertainment. Crystal will have it in their lounge upstairs, and Silversea will have it in Dolce Vita, as well as one of the lounges upstairs. But I find that the experience is much quieter, not as lively, not as contemporary. It seems to be geared more mellow. So I will say the other thing is that Crystal has done an amazing job on every cruise I've been on in terms of lectures and enrichment. Silversea has some, and I was just on another Silver Spirit cruise not too long ago, and I think they did a much better job. But I find when I'm on Crystal, not only am I enjoying the entertainment, but I'm learning things as well. The other thing is Crystal has the computer lab, a photography lab. You can take classes during the day. So really, I think from an entertainment, enrichment, overall experience, from that side, I'm definitely going to give that one to Crystal. Now, people always ask about the staff. Here's what I will say is the staff on both these ships, I have really had amazing experiences on all of my Silver Sea, this last Silver Dawn, the Symphony. So I think the staff are amazing on each cruise. It can change, of course, every week as they change their staffing, but both, whether it's just in the hallways, at a bar, walking throughout the ship, I think the staff, the tour excursion staff, are truly great people to enjoy talking to and learning about them, and they're intuitive in terms of what your needs are, whether it's your butler, your stateroom attendant, a waiter that you want to ask about customizing a menu item. So from a staff, I think it's tied. They're both great. One of the other things is the gym. So I think the gym on both these ships, the gym and spa experience on both these ships is equivalent. I did not have any spa amenities. My wife did on both, and she said they were both very good. Each time she did it, she said, oh, that's the best massage I've ever had. So that's great for her. But the gym for me on both was very good. Top quality equipment, plenty of space. Both had classes. I think Crystal also does two things that Silver Sea did not have. Crystal, which used to have a tennis court, now has a pickleball court, which it was hard to get on, and that's on the top of the ship. And then the other thing is Crystal, of course, has their golf pros on board. So I think from that side, in terms of activity, of physical activity, as well as the fact that on the Symphony you have the deck that you can walk all the way around or run all the way around, I say I'm going to give Crystal the nod for the physical fitness and activity and activities going on because of all the things they have going that Silver Sea doesn't. But if it's just something about going to the gym and the spa, I'm going to say they're equivalent. Now let's just talk about some miscellaneous items that I can go either way on. So the first one is the excursions. I have to say I'm giving that hands down to Silver Sea. Crystal does not include the excursions, and as I said earlier, on a 2-week cruise, you could have several $1,000s of excursions, and the quality of the excursions on the Dawn were excursions that you would pay between $80 and $300 for, because I looked up a couple of them through TripAdvisor or Viator. I'm like, it's the same thing except it's free. So I'm going to give that nod over to Silver Sea on the Silver Dawn because it was great to have these excursions. Plus, it was pretty easy. You just have to make sure you book them far enough in advance. If you want a casino, the Symphony no longer has a casino. The space is kind of just sitting there, some sofas. Silver Dawn has a very small casino, but they do have a casino. If you're bringing kids on, Silver Sea does not really have any kids program. Symphony has a teen room, and they do have a kids lounge. It wasn't active on my cruise. I spoke to someone if their plan was to market to families with kids, and they said depending upon the level of occupancy with kids, they would staff the kid experience and create kid experiences. So if you're thinking of taking your family with smaller kids, I would say that, the Symphony is probably the way to go if you want video games and things like that, and maybe they'll have a full kid program on the sailing you're on. Now, people talk about the library if you're on a longer cruise. There's no question that Silver Sea has a small library on Deck 11 at the observation lounge. It's small. If you want to see what I think is the best library at sea on a luxury ship, the Symphony has it. There's actually a librarian in there. So if you're on a longer cruise and you didn't bring any books or you want to do some learning, you definitely want to do that on the Symphony. So I'll give the Symphony that. And again, activities with the Symphony that Crystal has that Silver Sea doesn't have on the Dawn would be the pickleball, the golf pro. I am not a golfer, but I can tell you I've sat in some of the classes, and that's really nice to have the golf pro on board to learn. They also, with the pickleball, they had an instructor there. So again, from an activity standpoint, Crystal is the way to go. I've heard people complain that there is no bar outside on the Symphony. That's right, doesn't matter, there's bar waiters all around, but if you're someone that wants to sit at a bar stool and hang out outside and watch the pool, you can't do that on the Symphony. So bottom line is, to me, two amazing ships. If I'm going to make the decision, which I seem to be doing now, I'm going to look at the itinerary first and then price, because I think very similar, amazing experience on both. I don't think you can go wrong either way. Again, so I can't tell you choose Symphony versus Dawn because I like them both. Anyway, this is Jack with Luxury Cruise Tips. Let me know which one you like the best, or your thoughts on positive and negatives of each one, and I look forward to hearing from you. And thanks for watching my video.